Thank you, Yuvashri, for enlightening with a soulful prayer. It's a welcome gift to encourage others to achieve greatness. Next, Prabhakaran from 3rd BCom B will deliver.
I'm happy to welcome you all on behalf of our Director and Secretary, Dr. Naveen.
Thank you, Prabhakaran, for the warm welcome. Now, I call upon Priyanka of 3rd BCom A to introduce our resource person.
It is with immense pleasure that I introduce our resource person, Dr. R. Gayatri, a distinguished HR professional. An advocate for continuous improvement. Dr. Gayatri has led numerous projects and worked in various corporate software and R&D units. She is a passionate speaker and motivator who has delivered countless sessions across numerous educational institutions. Her certifications from prominent institutions are a testament to her ability to drive organizational success through strategic initiatives. Today, we are honored to have you among us, ma'am.
Same here. Glad to be connected with the enthusiastic students.
Thank you, Priyanka, for the brief introduction of the resource person. Now, I'm pleased to welcome our resource person to address the gathering.
Thank you, dear students, for that kind and warm welcome, and special thanks to Dr. Vaidegi ma'am for remembering me. And though distance, is so far, but I feel connected with all my teachers. And thank you, ma'am, for remembering me and inviting me to this session. And special kudos to the management of Patrician College for conducting such an important session, and that too on a daily basis for 7 days in terms of capacity building. I think it's not the first time I am delivering here online for Patrician College. It's been almost every year I've been doing this, and really glad to see so many students online, though it's on a Saturday. You're also eager to learn here. And I, being from the learning and development domain, I understand how important learning is, especially in this dynamic, exponential, era of industry. And of late, I just had a transition from India to Dubai. I can see such a vast difference in terms of operations, the way of working, and I'm sure all these sessions which your college is hosting will definitely help you to upskill yourself, and face the future industry expectations. So when ma'am connected with me, she wanted me to speak on a listening quotient, which is a very interesting topic, and an important element from the communication part of view. So communication, I think this is a very important topic and the hot topic everywhere amidst the students, and anyone who wants to get a job, who wants to improvise themselves. they say that I need to improve on my communication. So yes, communication is important, but sometimes we forget to understand that communication is not just speaking in English. It's just a mode of, the way how we are communicating. Not communication. Communication is what the person is speaking and the other person should understand. And there are various elements in a communication package. And one of the most important element in communication is listening skills. So I hope you all agree. And I know this is a virtual connect which is happening now, but digital advancement have so many features on this Google Meet as well. So we have something called as emotions, right? You can share your reactions. Do you all agree listening is an important aspect of communication? Yes, I get hearts. Thumbs up. Okay. Yes, Neil. So Neil agrees. Fantastic. So you all agree that listening skills is an important element of communication. Good, very good. Now, you all are listening to me? Yes? So that's the reason you all are giving me reactions to the question. You're responding. So I agree you are all listening. But for those who have not given reactions, are you listening? Or is that listening? Or just hearing? It's just hearing, right? Listening means you understand what the other person is saying and you process it and respond to it, right? So that's listening. Sometimes what we do is just for the sake of, okay, someone is talking, so let me just try, pretend that I'm listening. So what do? Classroom learn. By the way, are all okay with to create that impact? Yes, English is a mode of communication, but is that fine if I have some aspects of Tamil also in it, or does someone don't know Tamil in between? Are all comfortable? Okay, fine. So what I was trying to say is, in classroom, when someone, the professor speaks, right, explains to you about a concept, நீங்க எல்லாரும் என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க? Yes, தலையாட்டுறீங்க. Yes, nodding your head. And the professor on the other hand, sir, ma'am, என்ன யோசிப்பாங்க? எவ்வளவு நல்ல பையன். Such a nice student. They are listening to me. And last our question கேட்பாங்க. Is that clear? Any doubts? No, ma'am. Mindல என்ன ஓடிட்டு இருக்கும்? எப்படாப்பா இந்த அவர் முடியும்னு. Is that listening? Active listening? Yes or no? No, right? That's not active listening. So when it's a no, you can give a down thumbs up. If it's a yes, you can give a proper thumbs up. Okay? That's how we can interact in a digital mode. Though I would love to have face-to-face, but I'm miles away from you right now. So, of course, probably in future, if I come there, definitely I would love to meet you all and have a face-to-face session. So, yes, so nice to have so many reactions coming in and agreeing that listening is successful when you actively listen and respond. Unless and until you respond actively, it's not called as listening. Right? Now, as I told you, listening is an important aspect of communication. Why is it an important element? Because if you have to respond, you have to understand and interpret what the other person is speaking. For that, you will have a lot of barriers, a lot of obstacles. Right now, when I am talking to you, you might be seated somewhere wherein people might be passing you through. Or someone might be, just bursting crackers somewhere. Someone might be really interrupting you just getting into the room where you are seated in front of your laptop or phone, attending this session, you might get distracted. All these distractions will happen when you are in the process of listening. But how are you going to consciously avoid and face it will help you to have a successful listening process and accordingly respond to it. All right, just give me a moment. Yes, am I audible now? Is there any challenges in my network?
It is audible, ma'am. You are audible. It's clear.
Fine. Great. So, when I say listening, it is very important that you consciously avoid the barriers, the obstacles, which is happening around you in the process of communication. Only then you will be able to have a successful interpretation of what the other person is saying and accordingly respond to it, right? So now that we understood how important listening is, can we do a quick assessment of ourselves? I'm going to give you a self assessment now, but for that you need a paper and pen or pencil. Do you all have with you? If not, gear up wherever you are, just go and grab a paper and a pen and pencil, and once you're ready, just give me a thumbs up. I'm going to project a set of statements, and I don't want you to, this is not a test or exam, but it is a test for yourself, self reflection. That number செய்யறது கரெக்டா செய்யறோமா, எங்க நம்ம மாத்திக்கணும் நம்மள, because you know better than anyone. Do you all agree? You know yourself very well. So you have to consciously understand where am I going wrong and where I have to improvise yourself. Okay? So எந்த ட்ரைனிங் நீங்க அட்டெண்ட் பண்ணாலும் ரொம்ப ரொம்ப முக்கியமானது, அந்த டாபிக்ல you will have to do a self assessment. நீங்க எங்க இருக்கீங்க, எந்த லெவல்ல இருக்கீங்க, where you have to improvise, and the gap தான் you'll have to do a action plan. I understand there are so many speakers lined up for the entire week. Every day, 6:30 to 7:30, every evening, people are going to come and talk on each topic. But what next? What is the impact is it going to create after each training is what you have to consciously understand. Unless and until you act, today I'll talk about listening skills. Tomorrow, someone else is going to come on business communication. வந்து பேசிட்டு போவாங்க. நீங்க என்ன செய்ய போறீங்க? உங்களோட செயல், ஆக்ஷன் பிளான் உங்களோட மாற்றத்தை கொண்டு வர போகுது. இந்த செஷன் எதுக்கு பிளான் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க? Capacity building. The extent you're going to improvise yourself. And how are you going to measure that? உங்களோட செயல்ல வச்சு தான். After each training, how are you going to improvise yourself, right? So for that, you need to understand where you are right now and in the what kind of activities you'll have to improvise. So can we do the self-assessment? Yes? Are you all ready? Paper, pen or pencil is ready with you? Fantastic. So I'm going to project the assessment now. There you go. And I'm going to read out the statement along with the options. You'll have to ensure you mark yourself. Just let me know once you're able to see the screen. Are you able to see the screen?
No, ma.
No? Are you sure?
Now,
Yes?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. It is visible now.
Fantastic. So now that it is visible, what you'll have to do is just take your paper and pen or pencil, and against each sentence or question, you will have to mention whether it is most of the time, frequently, occasionally, or almost never. For example, I'm going to tell you on a scale of 4 whether the first one is 1, second is 2, 3, 4. So if it is most of the time, you'll have to mention as 1. Okay? So this is how finally you will have to, you'll have to actually score it. So this is just a sample which I'm showing it to you. Your scores might be different. So I'm just telling you what is to be done. So there are 30 questions, right? There are 30 questions. What you'll have to do is, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fantastic. So what you will have to do is, if it is the first one, okay, if it is 1, 2, 3, 4, where is the one which you are going to mark yourself? You'll have to mark in that appropriate column. So have a column done as most of the time, frequently, occasionally, and almost never. So have these 4 columns written on the paper, and just have this question or statement number. So against number 1, which you're going to mark as. Okay? If the first question, tune out people who say something you don't agree with or don't want to hear. So whether you do it, if it is frequently, then mark it cross on the second one. Right? Okay, did you get it? Let me just zoom it. Are you able to zoom it? Okay, fantastic. So you're able to zoom it, right? So the second question, concentrate on what is being said even if you're not really interested. So sometimes a topic may be not interesting or you would not like, but still are you trying to focus on it? Whether you do it most of the time, frequently, occasionally, apapa sayingla, it'll almost never. That means you don't do it at all, right? So you will have to thoughtfully think about it and give your responses. Just put a cross mark. Okay? So similarly, you have 30 questions. The first page has 20 questions. Ideally, you should take 2 minutes. Just don't take too much. You'll have to immediately think about that situation and respond to it. The third question is, assume you know what the talker is going to say and stop listening. For example, if you know, okay, this is what he or she is going to say, நம்ம எது கவனிக்கணும் நம்மளுக்கு தான் தெரியுமே அப்படின்னு நினைச்சு நீங்க ஸ்டாப் பண்ணுவீங்களா? Or do you still try to understand and learn, okay, something more I might be interested or I can learn, and you still go proceed and listen? Do you understand? Is there any doubts what you need to do for this self-assessment? Are you all doing it? Okay, good. So people are giving me a thumbs up. Similarly, the fourth question. Repeat in your own words what the talker has just said. For example, if you are learning a new topic, if you're trying to understand, do you take notes? Do you try to, speak out again and summarize and see to yourself, okay, this is what the person is trying to explain? Do you do that? How often? Is it most of the time, frequently, occasionally, or almost never? So hope you're doing the other questions as well. So the fifth one is listen to other person's viewpoint even if it differs from yours. அவங்க சொல்றது நீங்க if you're not okay with, but still you try to understand what are others trying to give you a message. That is also called as active listening. The sixth one, learn something from each person you meet, even if it is ever so slight. Each person gives you some or the other message. Learning is a never ending process. So do you consciously learn something from each person? Listening is very, very important. When people do not listen, they cannot improve in their life. That is something which you'll have to consciously understand. When you listen to people, you understand what they are trying to say. At least not all the aspects, certain aspects you would imbibe, and there could be a spark. It could be a kind of a life-changing moment at times. So listening, that's the reason you say you listen to songs, you listen to people speaking, you listen to motivational talks. Why is it? Because some spark would come into you and that could change. That sometimes they say, அவங்க பேசின ஒரு வார்த்தை நான் கான்ஷியஸா அதை யோசிச்சு பார்த்தேன், மாற்றம் வந்தது இல்லையா? So that listening consciously can bring out a change. It need not be just your subjects, but there are a lot of aspects. Sometimes grown-ups say, right, I wish I would have listened to my parents. I would have really achieved this. That means what? You don't give a ear to what people say. You don't listen, and then you try to regret at a later point of time. So listening is a very important thing in all walks of life, not just for students, but in every phase of life. Even now, having 20 plus years of experience, I have to listen to my boss. I have to listen what is to be delivered. Take your professors. They have to listen what their superiors are saying. So listening is important in every phase of life. Please let me know once you complete these 20 questions. Please give at least a few seconds to understand how you generally do it, and then give your responses. Okay, as everyone have completed, I'm moving to the next sheet, which has the remaining 10 questions. The same way, you need to understand whether the question, whatever is mentioned, are you doing this most of the time, frequently, occasionally, or almost never? So to start with, think about the kind of person you're talking to. Do you actually think about and understand your audience? Whether the person is worried, whether the person is disinterested. Sometimes you cannot just keep on talking to a person who is not ready to understand, right? So when you speak, and also when you are a listener, you need to consciously understand what the other person, in which situation is he. Do you generally do it? Do you interrupt the talker while he or she is talking? Sometimes what we do is we assume things and we try to interrupt before even they complete their talk. We ask, what is this? What is that? This is not the right way. So do you interrupt or you listen consciously? Try to self-reflect and understand. This will actually give you an understanding how you actually, do this listening from your side. Because unless and until you understand yourself, you will not be able to know where you need to improve. Next is think. I assumed he or she would. Are you assuming or are you clear with what people talk? Next is, do you allow the talker to vent negative feelings towards you without becoming defensive? For example, if someone gives you a constructive feedback, hey, this is not okay, do you try to defend or you try to take it and understand, okay, let me first try to listen and understand what he or she is trying to say? Maybe something wherein I need to improvise. Or is that really real, what he's trying to say? Or you're trying to just get into the defense mode. Hey, no, this is not this. How can you say this? So that is called defense mode. You don't even listen, but you're trying to jump into conclusions. So that's not ideally good. So what's your way of approach? How do you do? Just tick mark accordingly. See, this is not an exam, or the score is going to be only with you. So the main objective of the score is to work on your action plan. So please do it honestly to yourself so that you can consciously work on your skill. Next is practice regularly to increase your listening efficiency. To what extent you consciously work on yourself? Okay, I am not good in this, so I should actively find ways how I need to improvise my listening skills. Are you first self-aware? Next, do you take notes? For example, this session or any other session, do you have the habit of taking notes? Right? So that is also a strategy for effective listening. Next, hear noises without being distracted by them. So you are able to listen to whatever people speak or without getting distraction, without getting carried away by the obstacles which come across you. Next is whether you listen to the talker without judging or criticizing, whether you genuinely listen to others. And then whether you restate the instructions and messages to be sure. For example, if someone is telling you, hey, you need to do this, you jot down everything. Do you have the habit? Do you have that attending behavior of listening wherein you summarize and acknowledge, okay, so I understand this. This is all have to be done by today. Is that so? So do you summarize with the talker and understand that? And finally, do you paraphrase what you believe the talker is feeling? So do you again take notes and have short pointers that what the talker is trying to say, what the speaker is trying to say, and then accordingly go through the points and summarize to yourself. So these are some 30 questions which will help to assess yourself where you stand in listening skills. So once you start please let me know. Everyone is done with these 30 questions? I have got just 2 thumbs ups, 3, 4. Let me see how many of you have. Okay, but still I don't feel the count increasing. What about others? Yes, done? Okay. So now, having done the self-assessment, let us see what is the score, how you need to do your scoring. So what is the scoring index? As you can see on the screen, this is the frame, which is an ideal frame. Okay. So what you need to do is, you need to, for example, if you have crossed in the first statement as frequently, you need to put as number 2. That is 2 points. You get it? For example, for question number 1, if you have cross marked under frequently, you will have to mention there 2 points for number 2. For the second question, if you have mentioned occasionally, then again you get 2 points. This is a scorecard where you have marked, and against that, whatever number you can see on the screen, you have to mention that points there. Okay? So please complete this. Until 30, there are different scores for each category you would have marked. Just mention the score against each statement, and then you will have to add, for most of the time, total how much you are getting. For frequently, what is the total? Occasionally, how much is the total? For almost never, how much is the total? Then you have to add everything and find the total. Can we do that quickly? I'll give you just 2 minutes. Have you all understood? Have you all understood, students? Okay. So quickly just get this done, and I want to know how many of you are in which category. No worries, even if you are in the bottommost, but at least this assessment gives you an honest understanding of yourself, where you stand in this listening skills, and then I will tell you how you need to improvise. Yes, quick. Once you're done, please give a thumbs up. The more numbers of thumbs up, I'll understand that you're done with this assessment and you have got your total score. Okay? Just few hands, few thumbs ups. Vignesh, what happened? You did not understand. No worries. Vignesh, can you unmute yourself and speak out?
Yes, ma'am.
Vignesh, நீங்க ஒரு question க்கு எதிர்க்க இந்த 4 கேட்டகரியில ஒரு क्वेश्चन எதற்கு கிராஸ் மார்க் பண்ணிருக்கீங்களா?
இல்ல மேம், I only noticed that.
என்னது?
I only see the questions.
You only saw the questions. My goodness. That means you are not listening to me, is it? நான் பார்க்கிறதுக்காக கொடுத்த இந்த அசஸ்மெண்ட் நீங்க ஒரு क्वेश्चनக்கு அகைன்ஸ்ட் நீங்க வந்து மார்க் பண்ணி இருக்கணும். நீங்க எந்த கேட்டகரியில ஃபால் ஆறீங்கன்னு அது செய்யலையா நீங்க?
இல்ல மேம், செய்யல மேம்.
ஓகே, அட்லீஸ்ட் இப்போ கேட்டீங்களே புரியலன்னு சந்தோஷம். ஓகே, what I do is I share this assessment with your ma'am, Vaideki ma'am. நீங்க வாங்கி நீங்க அத அசஸ்மெண்ட் கம்ப்ளீட் பண்ணி you can know what's your score. சரிங்களா? Yes, Vignesh, is that fine?
Okay ma'am.
What about others? Vignesh, இது வந்து perfect example of listening, not listening. What about others? நீங்க சும்மா வந்து நான் ப்ரொஜெக்ட் பண்ணது பார்த்துட்டு இருந்தீங்களா இல்ல மார்க் பண்ணி ஸ்கோர் போட்டுருக்கீங்களா? What about others? I want this hands, raised hands, not thumbs up now. I want to see how many of you are raising your hands. How many of you have taken up this assessment and got the score 5, 6? I want to see the count now. Raised hands are only 5. 8. Who have completed the scoring and got the total score? Only 10. Professors without at least or 45 will be students. Other 13 of them have only done it, is it? Only 10. What about others? What about others? You're still counting. What's happening? 12, 11. என்ன கம்மி ஆயிட்டு இருக்கு? Okay. So others, please complete your scores quickly. 14, 15. Good. Okay. Fine. Others, please do it. I will share this PDF with your ma'am as well. So the basic idea is I want you to understand where you stand, and in the scoring, kira neenga paathirpeenga. If your score is between 110 to 120, that means you are currently in a superior level of listening. That is a very good mark, the level of listening. So please continue with that. In case you fall between 99 to 109, kind of you're above average, which you can still improvise and become a very good listener. If you are between 88 to 98, you are an average listener, wherein you will have to consciously take efforts on your listening skills. And if you're between 77 to 87, it's kind of a fair, okay kind. But if you're below 77, it is high time that you consciously focus and take active steps to increase your listening. Yeah? So, I'm going to stop sharing this. I'll share this PDF with your ma'am. No worries. Now, I'm going to show you a video which will help you to understand the day-to-day real-time situations where you think you are listening, but it is not listening. So let me just share this, and then you will understand. Just give me a moment.
First there was PlayStation.
Are you able to hear the sound from the
Yes.
from the PPT? When I was playing, did you hear the sound? Yes? உங்களுக்கு கேக்குதா?
First there was PlayStation, aka PS1, then it P.
Yara
Yes, yes.
சொல்லுங்க.
Yes, ma.
Yes.
We can. Yeah, we can hear.
அந்த வீடியோ சவுண்ட் கேக்குதா மேம்?
கேக்குதுமா, கேக்குது.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine, fine.
First there was PlayStation, aka PS1, then it PS2, PS3, and now PS4. And that makes sense. You'd think after Xbox, there'd be Xbox 2. But no. Next came Xbox 360. And now, after 360, comes Xbox One. Why one? And that's how many seconds of thought they put in the naming it. Can you get the butter, please? Yep. Help. First there was PlayStation, aka PS1, then it PS2, PS3, and now PS4. And that makes sense. You'd think after Xbox, there'd be Xbox 2. But no. Next came Xbox 360. And now, after 360, comes Xbox One. Why one? And that's how many seconds of thought they put in the naming it. Can you get the butter, please? Yeah, however, with the Xbox One, I can control my entire entertainment system using voice commands. Up until now, I had to use Leonard. Get the other one. That's the butter. Hang on. I don't feel like you're taking this dilemma seriously. Fine, Sheldon. You have my undivided attention. Okay, now, the PS4 is more angular and sleek looking. No way! It's true. But the larger size of the Xbox One may keep it from overheating. You wouldn't want your gaming system to overheat? No, see, you absolutely would not. And then furthermore, the Xbox One now comes with a Kinect included. Included? Yes. Not sold separately. Although the PS4 uses cool new GDDR5 RAM, while the Xbox One is still using the conventional DDR3 memory. Why would they still be using DDR3? Are they nuts? See, that's what I thought. But then they go and throw in an ES RAM buffer. Oh, is it? Who's that? The Xbox. You're kidding! I am not. And this ES RAM buffer should totally bridge the 100 gigabit per second bandwidth gap between the two RAM types. This is a nightmare. How will you ever make a decision? See, I don't know. What should I do? Please pass the butter.
Okay, so what did you understand from this video? Do you want once more? Did you understand what was the dialogue between those two characters? Some of you, I think one of you can just unmute yourself and share what did you understand from this video? One of you, or you want me to call out the name? One of you? Yes? No one? Can one of you just come on video and just speak out? See, you need to face, interviewer and lot of virtual skills. This is the right time wherein you can improvise those skills. Come on video and share what are the key learnings or observations you got to know from this video. Shrikant, can you? Shrikant, can you hear me? Now Shrikant will not hear me. He will lower his hand now. All the hands are lowered now. Can you hear me speaking? Can you listen? Okay. Neil, you gave a thumbs up.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Neil.
Yes, ma'am.
Possible come to video?
Ma'am, my video is not working right now, so apologies for that. Yes, ma'am. Apologies for that, but I can try and explain what I understood from the audio.
Of course, no worries. Yes, please
So
proceed. Really appreciate.
I think they tried. Yeah, I think they tried to crack a joke on the PlayStations coming from 1, 2, 3, 4. And Xbox, however, could not like it went from 1 to 360 or something. I don't know clearly what they said. So they tried to crack a joke here and there, and other things were not too clear for me, ma'am.
Were not clear for you in the sense the
I
video
did
was
not
not,
understand it.
you did not understand.
No, I did not understand it fully.
Okay, so that is Neil's observation. Thank you. Anybody else who would like to share what did you understand from that video? Anyone else? Okay, let me give you a brief thing. There were two people talking to each other. The female who is in a different state of mind. She wanted what? What she wanted? She was always focusing on what? She used the word. What is it? Yeah, my son has seen that video and he's giving me the answers. I want you to listen. He's in the 5th grade. Did you find that word butter which she said? I want the butter. I want the butter. But he was busy explaining about the PlayStation. Am I right? Come on. Where are those thumbs ups? Where are those yes? Okay, Neil. Yes. So, the learning from this video is you need to first understand what is the other person's situation. We saw in one of the questions. Do you understand in what mind setup they are? When you keep on talking or when you don't listen or you don't observe the other person, what they are trying to say or what they want, and you keep doing the same thing again and again, that is not active listening. He is busy talking about PlayStation and she is hungry. She is like, I want butter. And all of a sudden he says, you're not listening to me. And she says, okay, I'm going to give you undivided attention. The challenge here is he wants her to listen what the PlayStation is all about, and she is not in a position to listen to him because she is in a different state of mind. So there are conflicts. So just imagine in such a situation, if you try to communicate, do you think that the communication will be complete, will be effective, will be successful? Yes or no? Come on. Yes or no?
No.
I told you at the start of the session, listening is one of the most important element in a communication package. So both ways, whether it is the sender or the receiver of the message, the communication, when it happens, both have to be into the listening mode. When both of them are in their own mode, wherein the person is trying to say something, the other person is not in a position to understand or listen, that is not an effective communication, right? So now I'm going to show you another slide which will help you to actually come up with the action plan as well on what can be done to improvise your listening skills. So these are the 12 active points which you need to consciously focus upon in order to increase your listening skills. One is pay attention, of course. Don't interrupt. So this video you would have seen. So a lot of things which keep happening, right? Just give me a moment. So a lot of things keep happening, but each person on the either side was interrupting the other person. So she was saying that, give me the butter. He was saying, you listen to me. You're not listening to me. But he's not trying to understand the other person's mind setup that she isn't interested and there's no point in sharing whatever he's trying to do. And that's not going to, be a successful communication between them. So understanding the other person's state of mind is one of the most important aspects in listening skills. And the next is eye contact. Maintain eye contact. Okay, before that is summarize. As I told you, when someone speaks, you need to ensure you summarize whatever the person has told. right? Whatever has the person has told, make notes out of it. Next is maintain eye contact. So now I was telling Neil and others, like, come on video, so that you consciously have that habit of listening. You don't get distracted. So when you have to maintain an eye contact, that ensures that you are listening to the other person. But there are ways wherein people, can easily understand, even though you try to nod your head, whether you are really listening when questions are posed, when you are not able to answer, right? So showing interest, asking questions, participation shows that you are, the PDF was getting projected, that self-assessment, but at least at a later point of time, he said, I am not able to understand. So at every point of communication or any conversation, if you're not able to understand, please take out that time and confidence, and boldness to ask. Don't think that what will the other person think if I ask this question. No, if you need some clarification, speak out. Only then that's a conscious, active listening process. Because if you're not able to understand, you will not be able to process and give the output. Next is use positive body language. Body language when you are listening plays a vital role, especially when you're face to face, in an interview, in a classroom, even at workplace, right? So nodding your head, yes, but still, if you're nodding your head and fidgeting with your pen or something, that doesn't mean that you're listening. Maybe you might be listening, but your body language gives a different message. So you need to consciously focus on that as well, paraphrasing. So you might think that, this is what the person is trying to say, but in order to, confirm, you need to get the acknowledgement from the other person who is the speaker. Is this what you're trying to say? So you can paraphrase it and, confirm it with the speaker. And then withhold judgment. Try to understand the actual term, in what context is the speaker trying to explain, rather than assuming and judging. Because that would not be an actual listening process. You might interpret differently. Because if the listening process is correct, your interpretation is also correct. Otherwise, it goes for a toss. And the next is shows empathy. You need to understand the other person's position, be in that position, and then respond, communicate. Next is you need to repeat the key phrases. There are key terms. While writing, you would have observed key terms, you underline it, you understand it. Similarly, when someone speaks, you need to repeat and see, okay, these are the key phrases. For example, these 12 skills are key words in this entire session. The ways of how you can improvise your listening skills. The next is you need to share. If you have listened and if you are consciously aware of, okay, this is what has been agreed and has been, you are able to be in a position to share with others. Just imagine if you get half-baked information, you're itself not clear, how can you share it with others? That goes again for a toss. It's miscommunication. That's how there are big communication gaps. You don't listen properly, you interpret something else, and the message goes differently, and then there's a big communication gap. You all agree? Do you agree? Is there anything which you feel that out of these 12 skills? No, ma'am, I don't agree. Anyone? I'm fine. I'm okay for a debate now. Anyone? No? So you all agree. So now what you need to do is, you know where you had lagged, right? You know what is your score, which we did in the self-assessment. In that same paper or in the diary, wherever you have done this assessment, can you go and write right away action plan? Out of these 12 pointers, which is that you have to focus? Can you mention that in your action plan so that you can consciously work on that as an action plan to improvise your listening skill? I'll give you last 1 minute to quickly do your action plan for listening skills. Out of these 12 areas where you need to improve your listening skills, what are these out of these 12 aspects which you can improve? Which skill you need to improve so that you can become a good listener? Come on. I want, once you're done with your action plan, I want you to raise your hands. Raise hand. And I want you to do it. After this session, going forward, to improve your listening skills, you have to do that action which you have mentioned in your action plan. Yes? How many hands are there now? Let me see. Hands raised. Just 6. That's not good. In assessment, we had at least 15. What about an action plan? 7. Out of these 12 areas, which is the one you will have to focus and include in your action plan to improvise your listening skills? 11. We have around 50 participants in the call. Okay, now it's 13. What about others? See, any learning, any training session, you need to do a self-assessment, understand the concept, and come up with an action plan. Unless and otherwise you follow this process, you might not be able to consciously work on it. And the ROI, the return of investment you're putting in terms of time, effort to conduct this training, to participate in this training, it is successful only when you bring out a change in yourself, right? So it's important you need to have an action plan. Only 13 hands still. I know in India it's 7:30. So it's time for dinner. So you're all hungry, is it? Raised hands. 2, 1. From 13. Okay, anyways, I'm sure you all would have completed your action plan. If not now, at least at a later point of time. But it's very important that you focus consciously and work on all these aspects so that your listening skills can be improved, which is a very important element in communication. So it's not just speaking, but the listening element is also important if you want to improve your communication, right? So with that note, I would like to wrap up the session, and probably the floor is open for the last 2 minutes. I know we have exceeded the time by 3 minutes, but still I would like to have 2 more minutes for students who have questions or any feedback. I would love to hear from you. And thank you so much, ma'am, and everyone, to invite me and share my thoughts on this listening skills. And I'm sure all the students would consciously work on their listening skills so that their communication is also improved. Thank you so much and best wishes.
Thank you, ma'am. And it was a wonderful presentation, no doubt. It's very, very proud to witness our own students' a wonderful presentation. Thank you, ma'am. And students, listen, and I think you have some questions, right? So if you have any questions, you can unmute, you can ask. Ma'am, on behalf of our students, I want to ask one question.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
question is, ma'am, whenever they are sitting in the class, it actually the listening skill is also affected by other parameters. Like
Yes.
if it is a 4th hour after lunch hour, I'm taking class. Definitely, you could see.
Tough time
Uh,
for you, ma'am. Very tough time.
yeah,
I totally agree because as a
yeah.
trainer,
So
very
how to
tough time.
how to improve their skills, listening skill at the same time as a teacher? No, even we also have game based learning. We have activity based learning. Everything is there. All the pedagogy we are also practicing. But the problem is, but all the time we cannot switch over to other modes. Sometimes we'll have to teach also. So in that case, how to overcome this problem? Because first hour attention is always high, second hour also okay, but it starts diminishing from the third hour. So what is your advice for them?
I totally agree, ma'am, because this is not the case just for the students, because even it happens when it comes to corporate training, especially after lunch and during the end of the day. So, in such situations, what in my opinion, I believe that rather than a trainer or rather than a teacher, I think from the teacher's point of view or from the trainer's point of view, we need to shift our kind of a role from a trainer or a teacher to a facilitator. Rather than we speaking, let them speak. Let them participate. Let them do it. So after the lunch sessions, what I generally do is I take a back seat and make the participants to speak out. So whatever has been completed in the first half of the day or in the last session, I ensure that they come up and they speak out as group discussion or as a brainstorming session, so that they are active in it, especially after lunch hours and during the. So that's how we can ensure that they don't go to sleep or they become inattentive or they become boring. So that's the only way. So act as a facilitator or as a coach rather than taking the front seat and making them like yes, you have to listen. That's sometimes not possible, especially with college students or school kids. So when the even at the adult ranges, it happens that people doze off. So especially in 4th hours, I would strongly suggest that let them take the lead and have a different pedagogy wherein only group discussions, brainstorming sessions are done rather than the professor speaking, so that they are active in it and they lead that hour. That would be my viewpoint on this question, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, students, any other questions? Somebody raise your hand, okay? You can ask your question.
No questions. So
Very
all
clear?
clear. Either they should be all clear or not clear at all. Crystal clear? If it is crystal clear, you all should have an action plan, and I'm awaiting the thing from Vaidegi ma'am that people give you feedback that I've come up with an action plan, I'm working on it, because செயல் வந்து ரொம்ப ரொம்ப முக்கியம். நீங்க எந்த ட்ரைனிங் போனாலும் நீங்க அந்த ட்ரைனிங்கோட இம்பாக்ட் பார்க்கணும் உங்களுக்குள்ள அப்படின்னா it is you who have to work on it. You have to take ownership for your change, right? You are the change. So for that, you will have to have an action plan and act on it, right? So please consciously work on these skills wherein you have to improvise your, because listening skills especially, I think there was one more topic, business communication. I think you would have also covered this. The speaker would have covered listening skills is a very, very important element in communication. If you don't listen and if you respond something else, it would be a blunder in communication. You cannot communicate, you cannot respond appropriately. Yeah. So if there are no questions, with that, I would like to hand over to you, ma'am. Thank you so much once again for giving me this opportunity to connect with Patrician students. It was a really nice evening here from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Savita.
Thank you, ma'am. No duty is more important than that of returning thanks. Now, Kavya of 3rd BCom B will render the oath of thanks.
A very good evening to one and all present here. It's my immense pleasure to render the oath of thanks on behalf of the PG and Research Department of Commerce Shift 1. I would like to take the pride of thanking all the hard workers who made this webinar a grand success. To begin with, I would like to thank God for all His evident blessings showered upon us today. I would like to thank our resource person, Dr. R. Gayatri, for enlightening us with her abundant knowledge and spending a valuable time with us today. Thank you, ma'am. Next, I would like to thank our Director and Secretary, Brother Dr. Naveen Francis, Academy Director Dr. Fatima Vasan, and Principal Dr. Arokya Mary Geeta Ufas for taking this great initiative. Our heartily thanks to the Vice Principal Dr. Anandapriya and our Head of PG and Research Departments of Commerce, Mr. Arunan, who always seeks for the students' development. Then I would like to extend my gratitude to our staff coordinators who worked behind the scenes to make this wonderful webinar a huge success. Last but never the least, I thank all the participants for your lovely presence today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Savita. Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. This is Arunan, HOD, PG and Research Department of Commerce. The session was really interactive and active. Every student has participated. We had highlighted that how much the listening is important because they are transformed from the school level to college level. They'll have just 3 months semester to write the exam. No, whenever they come to college, they just see that college will be completely entertaining more. That all the movie and all projected like that. But today you just highlighted that how much important learning, how much important is listening. I'm really happy, ma'am. My student will learn, will do it, will apply in their college life also. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Indeed, as you rightly said, it's very important that they'll have to implement, and I'm sure all the students would definitely implement it. That is the success of all these programs which your professors are hosting for you, taking out time to reach out to the speakers. So the ROI which you can give back to them is Unga Sayal, Unglod actions.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gayatri ma'am, and your very special wishes in the chat box. And we could see the LinkedIn link also. Students,
yes,
you can always connect with ma'am, and you can ask whatever your queries. Ma'am is there to answer you all. So thank you so much, ma'am, for your concern, and thank you so much for your presence here. And all the way from Dubai, this is my Dr. Gayatri. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. Once again,
my pleasure, ma'am. My pleasure. Always your student, Gayatri. Thank you so much, ma'am. Your blessings.